Hey, dreamers and wanderers, welcome back to Dream and Wonderland and another episode of Dream and Wonderland, the podcast. I'm Pia, your host and face behind Dream and Wonderland. And today is a very special episode because I have my very first guest speaker here on the podcast. So the whole thing is about following your dreams and make them happen. I'm doing that. Yeah, I started with that like over 10 years ago, and everything changed for me and for my life. And so I hope to inspire you and encourage and empower you to do so too. And my guest speaker today, she did it for herself as well. She, yeah, she dreamt about publishing a book, writing a book, and publishing a book. And yeah, so she did. And now she is a best-selling author. And yeah, that's why I asked her to share her story with us to just give an example that it's possible. Like for you, for me, for her, for all of us, if we really start following our dreams, everything is possible. You just have to dream and then actually do it. And yeah, so let's welcome our first guest here on the podcast. Her name is Vivyana, and she is a dragon mystic, channels dragons and their empowering message and wisdom. She is, as I already said, an international best-selling author, oracle creator, energy healer, and spiritual mentor. And yeah, she met her first dragon, Ashara, on a sleepless summer night in 2023 and has since connected with over 100 different dragons, driven by a mission to share the transformative, inspiring, and magical power of dragons. She has written a Channel Dragon Wisdom book and is creating an accompanying oracle card deck. So she also shares dragon guidance readings and helps others connect with their own dragon spirit guides through her dragon connection coaching. So to help you start your dragon's journey, she also offers a free gift, the 5 steps to connect and commune with your own dragon spirit guide booklet, available through her website. And yeah, so let's dive into her story. I will put all the links how you could connect and where you get the booklet and how you can reach her, everything into the show notes below this video or on which platform ever you want to listen to this podcast. Somewhere there around it, there all the links will be available for you. And now let's dive into her story and let's see how her dream came true. Hi, dreamers and wanderers. Welcome to Dream and Wonderland. And I welcome today our very first guest on this podcast here. It's Vivyana, my fellow author or co-author of Manifest in Magical Moments. This is how we met. And yeah, so before I have a huge speech about who you are, why not introduce yourself a little bit to our audience tonight?
Thank you. It's a pleasure of mine to be here. It's so great to reconnect after being co-authors together in Manifesting Magical Moments. I'm Viviana, the Dragon Mystic, and in my chapter in Manifesting Magical Moments, I talked about manifesting magic with dragons. And the whole story of me being a part of Manifesting Magical Moments was actually kind of magical in itself. And I'm sure we're probably going to talk about that on the show today.
That's awesome. Yeah, I remember that journey very well, and it was for me it was totally exciting, and a lot of things followed afterwards. And as we follow each other, and I follow what you are doing, over the past year, especially, is that you had now the idea or the dream of writing an entire book about dragons. Is that right?
Yes, actually, the dream that I had about writing my own best-selling book of channeled dragon wisdom came right before
Ah,
I joined Manifesting Magical Moments.
interesting.
What happened was the invitation to join this multi-author book that we contributed to was actually part of this whole synchronicity about learning how to write a book and learning how to launch it as a bestseller. When I first had the dream of writing my solo book, which I did actually write and just it
Yeah.
just launched at the end of January 2025. It's called Dragon Wisdom. Big surprise. But what happened was I had, I haven't always channeled dragons. I actually only met my first dragon spirit guide in August of 2023. And before that, I had thought dragons were mythical literary creatures, probably like most of the people on the planet. I had no idea that they were real and they are powerful spiritual beings, just like angels. What I usually say, comparing angels and dragons, is dragons are very similar to angels, just with more teeth. Because they
Okay.
have, they have two arms, two legs, and wings, and they're energetic beings, but that are here to help humanity with our spiritual evolution. Just dragons have more teeth than angels. But so I met my first dragon in August of 2023, and then an, another dragon came to connect with me, and then the Dragon Crystal Guardian Collective, which is just a collective of dragons. There are many, many, many types of dragons in the universe. There are so many, but the Dragon Crystal Guardian Collective connected with me, and then more and more and more and more and more and more dragons kept connecting with me. And by January, I was like, I really need to write a book about all of this amazing, magical, inspiring, and transformative dragon wisdom that they are sharing with me. And so I had this dream in January 2024 to write, I'm going to write a best-selling book about dragon wisdom. And that week, an email popped up into my inbox that said that was an invitation to join a workshop called Successfully Launch Your Best-Selling Book.
Mhm.
And I was like, of course I need to go with this. Of course I do. And then the workshop itself was a panel of 4 women who were multi best-selling book authors. So they each had multiple best-selling books, and one of them was Melissa Keenan, who is the publisher for Manifesting Magical Moments. And I absorbed absolutely every single piece of information that I could out of that workshop. And one sentence popped out for me out of the workshop from Melissa, which was, I'm currently curating a book about manifesting and magic, and it's called Manifesting Magical Moments. And if you're interested in joining as an author, just connect with me. And I was like, oh my God, yes. So I connected with her and we talked about joining the book, and we talked about dragons and bees and all of these other spiritual things. And I was like, I have to be in this book. And so, yeah, I joined Manifesting Magical Moments. And what I learned from that experience was well, not exactly how to write a book, but I I learned how to launch a book in a way that was really aligned with the way that I work, which is one piece at a time instead of doing everything all at once and having everything ready and being really overwhelmed, which doesn't work for me at all. And so, yeah, I feel like everything about the journey from the moment I said I had, I wrote it down in my journal actually. I was I I am going to write a best-selling book sharing dragon wisdom. Everything that happened was so synchronistic. I learned everything that I needed to learn in that process in order to actually fulfill that dream. It was pretty amazing. I kind of love it.
Yeah, that really sounds like magic to me. When something's that big finally falls into the pieces and the gaps where they belong to, and everything is lining up, and everything is, yeah, kind of the big puzzle. Suddenly can see the image, and not only this huge box of little pieces and everything, but it's visible then. And that, for me, the whole journey, especially with the book, it was similar to me. I met Melissa in one of those networking thingies, and
Yeah.
yeah, she talked about herself, her journey, and the book she wants to publish. And that was the only thing what I was remember, that it has something to do with manifesting and magical moments. And so similar to you, I had to connect with her, and then we chatted, had a Zoom call, and there was part of the book eventually.
And the rest is history. And now we have this beautiful book of stories from people from all over the world sharing our manifesting magical moments. I love it.
Okay, so that was part of the journey. What was the biggest struggle following up with your dream? Was there any struggle, or was it like a smooth journey
Oh, it
where
was not
everything
smooth sailing. The whole thing was not smooth sailing. When I first had this dream, I had no idea how to write a book. I had no idea how to self-publish a book. I didn't know that self-publishing was a thing. I didn't know anything about book publishing at all, that there were three types of ways of publishing: traditional, hybrid, and self-publishing.
Mhm.
I didn't know anything. I didn't even know like how to put the whole thing together. I didn't know what to put in the book. I so I had to learn absolutely every little piece. Like before I was Vivyana, the Dragon Mystic, I've been an editor um for the last 18 years. So I know how to edit. I know how to write and I know how to edit, but I'd never written a book before. And so every little piece of writing the book along the way, I had to do research and I had to learn. One of the things that I'm really grateful for about joining Manifesting Magical Moments wasn't just learning how to launch a book, because there are a lot of moving pieces to that as well. But it was actually working with our developmental editor, Sally Shakti Willow,
Mhm.
who, I gave her my chapter and I thought it was pretty good. And she was like, um, could you maybe share a little bit more about you and your journey in this book instead, or in the chapter, sorry, instead of maybe glorifying some other people? Because my chapter originally talked a lot about who I learned some of these lessons from. And from my perspective, I was honoring what they had taught me.
Mhm.
And what Sally Shakti said was, yeah, but this is a chapter about you and your journey, not about this author and this person and this mentor of yours. It's about you and your journey. And I want to hear more about you. Oh, and I also want to hear about more channeled dragon wisdom from your dragon spirit guide. And I was like, you want me to channel dragon wisdom specifically for this chapter? And she's like, yeah. And I was like, um, okay. So one of the really big lessons I learned from participating in manifesting magical moments was I still had issues about sharing my wisdom and my expertise and sharing me with the world, because basically what I was doing was I was still hiding behind other people's wisdom instead of stepping up and shining my light and sharing my wisdom. And it was a huge realization for me, because I was like, I thought that I was past that. Like those, imposter syndrome, and I'm not good enough. And they're subconscious, right? Like you don't even realize you have them until someone else points them out to you. And you're like, oh, wow. And so, what I learned from Manifesting Magical Moments and Sally Shakti's developmental edit magic was there are still layers and issues to work through. And those were really important for me to work through before I wrote my own book. Because if I hadn't gone through that transformational alchemy of writing this chapter, my book would have been really different. It
Mhm.
wouldn't have included my story. And for my book, Dragon Wisdom, the first, I don't know, like maybe a fifth of the first quarter of the book before it gets into the actual channeled Dragon Wisdom from the 64 Dragon Crystal Guardians is my story.
Mhm.
And it was really hard. It was really hard to write it. To give you an example of how long it took, there are 64 Dragon Crystal Guardian chapters in my Dragon Wisdom book, and they took me 4 weeks to write. It's about 3/4 of the book, three, somewhere around there. And the introduction, which is my story, is about a quarter of the book. And it took 6 weeks for me to write. So 1/4 of the book took 50% longer than the 75%. And and after I finished writing, I was basically finished the whole first draft. So the introduction took me 6 weeks. The conclusion took me like a couple of days. It wasn't long. After I had finished the whole first draft, so that was about 10 weeks, 10 weeks to write the whole book. I got sick for the first time in 5 years. I hadn't been sick since the beginning of COVID, like the very, very beginning.
Mhm.
And I got sick after writing my introduction. And I think it was because there was so much emotional processing that I had to go through to write that book, to write the introduction, to share my story, and like prepare myself for sharing my story with the rest of the world.
That's true. I mean, you put your whole self out there, and ideally, millions of people will read that and will know you a bit better. And that is, for me, calling visibility, right? And
Yeah.
that is a huge thing. Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't know that I wasn't ready for that level of visibility when I was writing my Manifesting Magical Moments
Mhm.
chapter until Sally Shakti said,
Yeah.
could you maybe share more of you? I was like, oh. So then I had a bunch to rewrite. But I
Mhm.
did. And I'm really proud of, I'm really, really proud of both books, both my chapter and Manifesting Magical Moments, because it was my first opportunity to share channeled dragon wisdom. And Sally Shakti made me step up and share even more than I had written in my first draft of that chapter. But I am so, so, so proud of Dragon Wisdom. And there are so many more dreams to fulfill with that book. And I can't wait to work on each one of them. I'm a very linear thinker. So I've launched my book, in pieces so that I'm not overwhelmed. I launched the ebook version at the end of January on the very last day of the year of the dragon. It is so amazing to me. I was really close. I didn't know if I was going to make it, but I did. I'm so, so happy that I get to share. I wrote my solo dragon channeled book and published it in the Year of the Dragon, the tail end of the Year of the Dragon, but I got it done. So I launched that, and
That's
then
all what matters.
it is. It's I got it done. And then so the ebook is launched, and it launched really, really well. I'm so grateful and thrilled. It reached international best-selling book in 2 countries in 3 categories. It hit number 1. And
That's
I'm
awesome.
just so beyond grateful that it hit number 1 international bestseller, just like our Manifesting Magical Moments book did. And that was like, it's my dream come true, is what it is.
And that's true, yeah. So
It took 1 year.
celebrating.
Yeah, it took 1 year.
Mm.
So now the next dreams are, I'm working on the print version of the book so that I can
I'm
actually
actually
hold a
waiting for
book
that
with
one.
pages.
Exactly. I'm still, even these days where everything is I don't know, online or wherever, Kindle, I don't know what else is out there. I still love to have a book in my hand and actually turn each page. And so I'm waiting for that one.
Yay! Thank you. Thank you. It's coming. It's coming. So once I get the print book done, I'm going to start working on the audiobook
Mhm.
because I'm actually I'm a professional Audible narrator as well. And so which I did in preparation for being able to narrate my own book, which was weird because I did this like a couple of years ago. And so I know how to record
Mhm.
and narrate an audiobook, put it all together and launch all of that stuff. So print book, audiobook, and then I'm going to start working on the artwork for the Dragon Crystal Guardian Oracle deck,
Ooh.
which I'm so excited about. And a little bit of an aside, I actually started working on the Oracle card deck before I started working on the book. I was going to release the Oracle card deck first,
Mhm.
but when I started writing the guidebook for, how Oracle card books
Yeah.
or Oracle cards, they have books that go with them so that you can dive deeper into the meanings of the card. When I started working the on the guidebook for it, there was too much information that was coming through. And I was like, I can't fit all of that into this little, like, a
Yeah.
little book. And so what happened was my solo book had to be written first. And so
It
that's
wanted to
how,
come out.
but
Yeah.
it wasn't originally that way. Originally I was going to work on the Oracle card deck first, but it it happened the way that it was meant to happen. And so yeah, my next I have so many dreams about,
Mhm.
what I want to do with the channel Dragon Wisdom. So after the Oracle card deck, I want to be like you, and I want to travel, and I want to go to Glastonbury and Avalon, and I want to go to the Preseli Hills where my Dragon Crystal Guardian, where her main consciousness is
Mhm.
she's the Dragon Crystal Guardian of Preseli Bluestone, which is the crystal that the inner ring of Stonehenge is made out of.
Oh, okay.
And so Glastonbury is where Stonehenge is. So I want to go to Glastonbury, which is also known as Avalon, where Sally Shakti Willow actually lives. But I want to go to the Preseli Hills, which is 200 miles, kilometers, I don't know, remember which, away from Stonehenge. And I want to just sit in the Preseli Hills and just soak up the crystal energy and meet where my dragon actually lives. And then there are a bunch of other places in the world where the Dragon Crystal Guardians originate from. And I want to go to a number of those places, like New Zealand and and where else? There are a number of dragons who come from Brazil
Mhm.
and just so many places in the world. Japan, the second dragon I ever met. His name is Gar. He's the dragon crystal guardian of Androdite Garnet, and he hails from Japan. And so I want to go to Japan. I want to go to the places where my dragon crystal guardians, guard their crystals.
That's awesome. Yeah, so I believe it's always good to have a dream to follow, because otherwise, what else should we do, right? Just
Wholeheartedly agree.
yeah.
Absolutely. Dreams make us move forward
Yes,
in our
exactly.
lives. They challenge us and they make us grow in order to
Yeah.
fulfill that dream. So totally, I totally get that.
And it's totally fine when the dream that you have at the moment is maybe, or yeah, sounds probably completely unrealistic and crazy and too big to make it happen one day. But here you are, you just one step after another, and then finally you have your whole book in your hands, and ta-da, there it is. So it's yeah, every time when someone tells me that I will never do that, I always could grab that person and shake it and until they start to believe that dreams can come true.
Yes, totally. And dreams, when you have a really big dream, they can be really overwhelming because
Yeah.
you don't know how to get from
To
A
start.
to
Yeah.
Z, right? And the only thing you need to do is figure out what is the next step.
Yeah.
What is the B? What is the C? What is the D? What is the E step to get to that, Z part of your dream, like
Yeah.
the end part of it, the realization, the manifestation of it. And you just need to keep one foot in front of the other and be focused on what is the next thing.
Mhm.
And that's it.
And you don't even know what's the next thing. It's only important to see, I don't know, if you want to travel the world, you don't need to travel the world at once. You just need to start with, I don't know, go to your neighboring city and travel there. And then you're already in the process of traveling. So start
Yes.
with one thing, with one small baby step, and then go from there. And as we can see, everything else will unfold on the journey while you are on the journey. And yeah, it's totally worth to start dreaming, believe in your dreams, and believe it's possible. And then start with the very first step. And yeah, then turn your
Agreed.
dreams into.
100% agree. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So we have covered your biggest dreams, your struggles, how you overcome them. What's next? Okay, so is there any advice you would like to give our audience how they could make their dreams come true, except from believing and starting and doing the thing? Is there anything?
Well, I think the first thing is figure out what the big dream is
Yeah, yeah, true.
and then figure out what your next step is and do what you can in your life to the balance the dream with the real world. Because
Mhm.
sometimes what happens with us and our dreams is sometimes we sacrifice things in our real world reality to get to that dream. And I have done this. And what I've learned through this process is it is really wonderful to have dreams, but we also need to be realistic about our needs in the physical world and to just work a little bit better on the balance. That's the thing that
Mhm.
I need to work on.
Yes, that's
I think
absolutely true.
it's
Yeah.
probably not what people want to hear that life is all magical. Actually, life is magical and realistic. Like
Yes.
there are practical aspects of life that we need to keep working on. And just to keep grounded in the physical world and work on our dreams at the same time, and to find that balance that works for us. And it's going to be different for every person, but to find the balance that works best for you. Probably not what people are expecting to hear from the dragon mystic, but those are some really big lessons that I'm still working on, especially as an intuitive person and a solopreneur running a spiritual business. It's really important to be grounded, and to what I like to say to people in terms of intuition is you can only go as high as you are connected to the earth. And so being grounded is a really, really important part of being intuitive and expanding our intuitive abilities, but also about manifesting our dreams, I think, to stay grounded and to find that balance. That's my advice.
That's true. And also I'd like to add is to actually also enjoy what currently is, and not only living in a potential future with our dreams.
Yes, totally.
Everyone's
That's all about
saying,
law of attraction,
yeah,
right? If you're not happy where you are
exactly.
and you're always in that other place where, the grass is greener,
Yeah.
then how do you enjoy the present moment?
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. That's a beautiful, beautiful reminder.
Yeah. Okay, anything else that I would like to know? Okay, so the most we have covered. Is there anything upcoming right now that you would like to talk about to the audience, to the people out there? Is there any event coming up, or is there something happening right now except of the paper, the physical copy of the book?
Well, I think that is the thing that I'm working on the most right now. The next, I don't have any events for, my business planned yet, but okay, I do. I guess I have another dream, which
Okay.
which came out of writing the book. So when I first started writing the Dragon Wisdom chapters and sharing what the dragons want to share with humanity in order to help us grow with our spiritual evolution, I didn't really know what the point of the book was going to be. I knew that I had to share the wisdom that they were sharing with me because they had asked me to. But I didn't know what was the overall point of the book until I got almost all the way through the dragon chapters. And what I realized was there were 108 aspects of spiritual evolution that are included in the 64 Dragon Crystal Guardian chapters. And so what ended up happening was it created the subtitle for the book, which was Quantum Leap Your Spiritual Evolution with the Dragon Crystal Guardians. And the point of the book is to help humanity progress along our spiritual evolution. And so then I had to come up with, well, what does spiritual evolution even mean? Because it's going to be different for every person, right? And so I had to come up, I wrote an entire section in the introduction about spiritual evolution, and then I had to narrow it down to one sentence. And so what happened was I came up with a definition for spiritual evolution, which is the transformational journey of growth, enlightenment, and self-mastery, where you align with your most empowered self, embody your highest potential, and integrate your soul's purpose into your everyday life. And so I guess the next event that I'm working on is a program called Dragon Empowered Spiritual Evolution, where we go beyond the book and I share specific tools, techniques, methods that will help you with your spiritual evolution in collaboration with the dragon wisdom, the dragon crystal guardians, the crystal properties, and basically the lessons I've learned on my spiritual journey in the last 14 years as an intuitive, an empath, and a highly sensitive person.
Wow.
So that is, I guess, the next
Exciting.
event that I'm working on will be after I do the print book and the oracle card deck. I'll be working on a dragon empowered spiritual evolution program to help highly sensitive people, spiritually awakened souls, and energetic sensitives to progress along their spiritual evolution.
Very nice. I'm looking forward to that.
Thank you. Thank you.
Sounds
Me too.
very exciting. Um, in case our audience is excited as well, what is the best way to get in touch with you or to follow you or yeah, to work with you maybe even?
Awesome. The best way to connect with me is through my website. Absolutely all of my information is there. My website is thedragonmystic.com because if I had made my website vivyana.com, nobody would ever find me because they wouldn't be able to. It's hard to remember how to spell it. So I decided thedragonmystic.com. And on there, you can find how to buy my book. Both books, actually, each of my books have its own webpage. So Dragon Wisdom and Manifesting Magical Moments. So you can look at those pages. It also talks about the way that I help people, which is currently offering dragon connection coaching. So I help people connect with their own dragon spirit guides. And I also offer dragon guidance readings where I will share a reading from an oracle card spread. You love oracle cards, you know what I'm talking about. I intuitively downloaded a dragon guidance spread. It's the first oracle card spread I'd ever created myself, and it's this beautiful spread that's in the shape of a dragon's body, actually. It's pretty amazing. And it's that dragon guidance reading is an intuitive collaboration to illuminate a specific aspect of your life. So my clients choose an intention. And then because my cards don't exist in physical reality yet, it's totally an intuitive collaboration where for each card, which has a specific meaning, I ask the person to choose a number that resonates with them between 1 and 64. And so there's no shuffling involved and there's no I pick the card. It's the client, the person who I'm reading for actually picks their message. It's pretty cool. And then I also have a gift for people to get started on their dragon journey. And it is a free booklet that I created called 5 Steps to Connect and Commune with Your Own Dragon Spirit Guide. And you can find that on my website as well, on the page that says gift, or you can go to thedragonmystic.com/gift and you can find that there as well. So you can find me through my website, and on every page, my Facebook and email and all that stuff is on there. So I'm pretty easy to connect with.
Awesome. I will put that all the information into the show notes as well. So for easy clicking and linking and everything, finding everything. So yeah, wonderful. So thank you for being here. Thank you for this very cool conversation. It was a pleasure to have you here and to talk about all this. I could go on for hours actually with diving into all the dragons and things like that. So thank you for being here and be my very first guest. That was exciting.
Thank you, Pia. It was an honor to be here and to be your first guest and to reconnect after a little while since we launched our Manifesting Magical Moments. I feel like we should hold up our book one more time
Yeah,
and be like, this is our multi-author book where we co-authored together.
exactly. You can buy that too, people out there. It's still on the market, so feel free to order a couple of copies and spread it out to your families, friends, and everything.
And that book is available on ebook and print.
Yes,
Yeah.
true.
Thank
All
you,
right.
Pia.
Then, yeah, have a great evening. And you out there, I hope you liked this episode and feel free to leave me a couple of likes and connect with me and Vivyana and comment, send us questions, whatever. Thank you for listening. And I see you in the next episode. Bye bye.